you better not. Hit all notifications and check my website, Bomboni.com. I'm trying to pet her. She won't let me because she's freaking out that the dog is here. She doesn't really like him very much. They don't get along. It is what it is. So yes, y'all asking about Poopsie. Here she is. So yeah, TonyBomboni.com. Links below. You guys know the drill. So here's Paco, my Chihuahua, and Poopsie, my bird. So these are my only two pets at the moment. So I was requested to make a video talking about my pets. Okay, I'm gonna put the dog down. I'll still bring him in a video, in part of the video, but she just keeps chirping, so I'm sorry. This is why I don't bring her in videos. She's loud. So I'll make this video an exception, okay? Because it's like 1 in 1,000 where she's in, right? But here's Poopsie. I'm trying to show her, but she does not like that microphone or the camera. But there she is. She's an 8-year-old cockatiel. I've had her for, well, 8 years. She slapped my cheek. She went bam. She's sassy. She's a solo cockatiel, which is typically not recommended because they get like lonely and anxious and stuff like that. So, but she's doing fine. She's used to it. It's just she's not really a fan of my dog. So when he comes up by her cage, she's always like hissing or stuff like that. I mean, they're used to each other, but like they're not friends, you know what I'm saying? They don't get along and play with each other like I would have expected. And she's just a scaredy cat. Like look what she's doing. She's looking at him. She's like, I don't really want to be here right now. It's okay. But I love her to bits. You want to spend at least an hour a day with your pet bird. At the bare minimum. She used to have a lot of anxiety where she would pluck her feathers. But I think she's kind of slowed that down over the years. And I used to think that she was a boy until she laid her first egg a couple years ago, and it freaked me out. I was like, I didn't even know what to do. And her first egg was... Maybe I should put her back, but I just want to make this about pets. The reason she doesn't chirp is because I cover her when I film videos with a blanket. So, like, I cover the cage with a blanket. So, it's like a light, gentle blanket. So that's airy and breathable, you know. So she has plenty of oxygen, obviously. And it's a huge cage, so obviously she's not going to have oxygen anyway. Because there's always like a gap, like it's so big, there's no blanket that can really cover it fully, you know. So, but yeah, like because if they have like big orange cheeks, usually that means they're a boy, but I guess not always. And the color of their beak, kind of like if it's like peachy, it's like a boy. So she looks like a boy, but she's a girl, so it's kind of funny, actually. And people kept telling me that she's a girl, and I didn't believe people. I really always thought it was a boy. And that's kind of why I called him Poopsie. You know, like, I don't think I'd call a girl Poopsie, but I guess it's kind of girly name too. It's kind of gender neutral in a sense. So, yeah, but I had no idea until like 5th or 6th year of life that she was a girl. I was like, it changed everything. Like, I kept calling them a boy for so long. So, it's so weird, right? Because you really don't know with birds. You just don't know until you know. So people are wanting to ask about like specific details about my pets, where I got them, their personality, all that good stuff, right? So Poopsie, I got one in 2015 when I was in massage therapy school, and I was still living in Illinois. Right now I'm in Florida, and I think I got her at like a Pet Supplies Plus store. They had a big kind of like in-wall glass cage that was housing like at least 10 of these. And I don't know what it is about Poopsie. My mom and my brother came with me that day. I think I was 21 years old, and she just stuck out to me in a sense, and stuck was like the quietest one. She was kind of chill, minding her business. The other ones were so loud. She was like the only one that was quiet. I was like, oh, this is gonna be perfect for filming videos because I don't want like an obnoxiously loud bird, right? And yeah, I don't know, just I guess the personality kind of stands out in a sense, right? You just kind of know. And I do believe that like you just kind of ultimately end up knowing because you have that personal connection with your bird or your pet in general, and it's just kind of like, you know, right? You just know when you know. It's like when you're getting married to someone, you know who you want to get married to, right? Exactly with the pet. You know exactly which is connected to you, like how they're connected, in what way, like maybe how they can serve a purpose in your life, right? How they can bring joy, and how you can introduce joy in their life as well, because, you know, it's always sad to see animals, sorry, this is not the most relaxing video because of the chirps, but, you know, it's sad to see animals locked up. You know, I'm not a cat person, but whenever I go in the Petco at the dog groomers and I see the cats next door in those small little fence cages, it makes me like sad, you know, because like they're just in that little cube and they have no owner, no one to love them, you know. So I'm not a cat person, but like, you know, it just still makes me sad, you know, just to see even like the birds there, and they're in that glass cage all day, and, you know, especially the ones who are like the conures and those like little mini green parrots, whatever they're called, and they're so excited to see you sometimes and desperate to have a home that you almost can't help it, you know. So yeah, I don't know. So anyway, we were there that day. It was nighttime. I was like, I want a bird. I'm ready. I'm starting to make an income for myself. I was like, my family knew I was moving out on my own anyway, so they're like, yeah, okay, now is the appropriate time. So I'll get into my past pets and why that wasn't an appropriate time, but I want to talk about Poopsie first. So she finally calmed down. She's crunching her beak. So basically, the lady was like, okay, you pick the one you want. So she got one of these like special gloves so they don't bite her, because she was a little biter the first few days, which they usually are until they calm down and get to know you more. And it was a struggle. Like, she struggled for a good 5 minutes trying to get Poopsie because they kept flying in circles and freaking out at this big giant glove that looked like they thought it was like just scary, you know. And she got her, put her in that little cardboard box thingy that they put birds in when they carry them home. Bought her the cage, the toys, the food, and walked out of there. And that was that. I think at the time it was only like $120 total, so it was like really cheap. And she came, we opened her up out of the box. She like immediately jumped and freaked out. Like, we put her in the cage right away, and that's what you're supposed to do with birds, just kind of settle and acclimatize. And we had her in the kitchen table at first, and then I moved her slowly to my bedroom, and that's where I had her for 1 whole year. And it was this house we were temporarily renting until, you know, we figured our stuff out. Because again, I was at 21. I was like, I'm grown. I'm ready to get out of here, you know. And I later found out the house had mold. And that's why I had like difficulty with my chest. I had like a discomfort sometimes. So that took a long time to go away. Because it was like 100-year-old house. And the basement always flooded. And it just had all sorts of issues. One time the ceiling leaked. So I'm like, it's a miracle I'm alive and the bird's alive, because we were in that room. That room smelled like it the most. It was always like this damp smell, but I always kind of put up with it because I thought, oh yeah, that's just Illinois. Like the cold winter, it gets like that. But like, I don't know how I made it. I always had a sore throat, coughing, like difficulty in my chest. So yeah, that was a big reason I like wanted to move out. Yeah, she was a very good girl, and I'm laughing because again I thought she was a boy the whole time. So after, like, she bit me real bad one day in the finger, because I thought like 2 days was enough time to let her chill and like take her out of the cage and play with her and stuff, but no, like it took her some time, and then she finally relaxed into it and got used to the routine. And these are really routine oriented animals, so they want the same thing every day, that sort of thing. They like their comfort, their stability. I would recommend, I'm not going to go into all the details of like how to change their seeds and all that stuff, because this video will be a lifetime long, but yeah, basically, you know, is spend time with them, play a little ladder, you know, like this, sort of like this. Like, here you go. They love that. Like, it's good exercise for them. Trimming their wings so they don't, you know, fly away. So there's like a certain area you have to trim. Again, I won't go into that. But she's not able to fly anymore because she kind of damaged her wings by plucking them so long, and like she hasn't flown in so long because of that I think she even forgot or lost the ability to fly, so she just kind of flops, which is why I have to keep an eye on her to make sure she doesn't do that, because if she does from a certain height, that she can get herself hurt. Oh, there's something in my eyelash. So yeah, I kind of just keep an eye on her and just kind of bring her here and there. So yeah, I consider her like permanently disabled because she can't fly, you know. But she did at one point, but when she did like she could circle this whole house like 3 times in one go. Like, she had strong wings. But yeah, like a muscle, if you don't use it after a while, you lose the ability. But I always keep her cage open all day so she's free to do what she wants. I never keep her locked in, you know. I don't think we should ever lock any animal, any bird, you know, all day, I guess, unless it's like a reptile or something, or I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to the dentist after this, so I can't make this too long, but let me continue. But she's sassy sometimes, you know, she wants her way, sometimes she wants to be left alone, and that's fine, you know, she's pretty independent. And the only pain is washing her cage out, because you have to take out the foil, all the seeds, disinfect, clean. Oh, it takes forever, and because it's such a big cage. And you know, then giving her a bath like once every couple weeks or so, just like the dog, you know, and then putting her bath spray on, and then just making sure her feathers look good, and you know what I'm saying. Changing her water every morning, changing her seeds every 3 days, millet every 3-4 days, you know, whenever she eats through it. So yeah, she doesn't really play with her toys anymore, but she just likes to hang out and chill, I guess, and do what birds do best. And yeah, sometimes carry her on the shoulder, keep me company. She does not like outside. I never take her outside because of that, but also, like, I don't, because obviously a bird can swoop down and take her any second. So, like, if I do carry her outside, it only in my 2 hands, so she can never escape and no one can, you know, snatch her out. Or if she's outside for like fresh air, I'd put her in like the smaller cage and then put her on the table, so she just gets a few minutes of air and sunlight. You know, that's healthy. I should really do that more often, actually, now that I think about it. That's another way to spend more time with my bird, because, you know, I'm kind of like working a lot of the time. So, yeah, it'd just be nice to, like, you know, we always want to like spend more time with our pets. I think that's like very valuable and priceless, because we don't have too much time with our pets, you know. So this is why I didn't get a parrot, because parrots live like, they can outlive you, basically. So that's such a huge commitment that I don't see myself ready for it ever. And the way the world is changing, I don't see how that would be possible. Like hurricanes, it was already a pain enough to have to, move around Poopsie and Paco and myself and family. It's like, like I literally had to come back to get her for the hurricane. Like there was so much stuff in my car, I had to literally come back during the storm to get her. Like it was scary, it was terrifying. So, yeah, like, also, I never leave my dog. I guess I'm going to transition my dog now alone in the house more than 2-3 hours ever, because he has to pee like every 2 hours. And yeah, it gives me an excuse to get outside. Actually, I'm going to put the bird away and then I'll show Paco, because she's going to freak out and chirp, and I don't want this to be not relaxing. So I'll be back. Oh, let's talk about Paco Taco, my chihuahua. He is 5 years old. He's turning 6 on November 11. And I got him in Fort Myers, Florida, like South Fort Myers. It's like more closer to Bonita Springs / Naples. Like it's pretty close there. It's a beautiful part of that town. And yeah, this lady has been at the time selling chihuahuas for like 16 years. I don't know if she is anymore, if she's retired, but Paco came with his sister, who is like a chocolate color with blue eyes, like adorable, but I could not buy both at the time because I was planning to buy a house, and it just would have been too expensive because he cost $650, I think. But he came perfectly fine, healthy, and yeah, people were calling me out at the time for like not going to an adoption agency and just going to a breeder. But this was different because he came in a family home environment already. He wasn't just another dog being sold, She took care of the mom, the sister, the father. They all lived together and with other dogs too. And yeah, I felt sad, like, okay, because that was my first experience buying on my own, so I didn't know any better either. And obviously it would have been free for me if I just went to an adoption agency, but like, I wanted to make sure the dog was in perfect health, because that's not guaranteed. When you go to an agency, you never know what kind of, like horrible situation the dog's been in. And I wasn't, like, I was just a kid, I didn't know how to handle a dog like that with like mental health issues, like, you know what I'm saying. So I wanted a fresh, clean start to be safe, and make sure they had all their shots and everything. So, yeah, but it was a pretty penny, like, I mean, with all the extra shots and stuff and food and crazy everything, like $2,000, he cost me the first month. And, yeah, this was in 2017, so I was at this time, like, 22 years old, 23, I think, actually. So, yeah. It was 23, I think, because it was a couple years after Poopsie. So I got Poopsie, and then I got Paco 2 years later. So he has been nothing but the best dog ever. Then he got horribly sick one day because I guess he licked something on the balcony back when I was living in the apartment in Bradenton. And he got like he couldn't stop going to the bathroom basically, and so I had to take him to the emergency, and they figured out it was just like this parasite or something, so he took meds, then he was fine. So yeah, it was really bad though. I was scared for him. I was like, oh my god, I just got this dog, and now he's, he can't stop throwing up and going to the number 2, and he just is like shaken and he's like dehydrated. And after that, I got so stressed out. I was like, should I even have this dog? So I was in that stage, like, because again, I'll talk to you about my past pets, but like in the past, we've always gotten a dog or a bird and then given it away after a few weeks or months. So I thought this was going to be another case of that, like where was fun while it lasted. And I'm thankful I got over that. I'm so thankful I said, no, you know what? You're gonna be in my new house. You're my good luck charm. Like, you know, I just felt like something was there I couldn't quite grasp, but I knew that he was meant to be with me, because when I first got him, I found him on those sites, like those agencies that, you know, sell dogs like any breeder would. It was a pretty popular public site, so it was, you know, official, verified, you know, legit. They're not gonna try to like scam you or rip you off, so I knew. But I looked on that site several times in the past year before that, and I said, no, this is not it, this is not it, this is not the right dog, no. And then one day I went to my family's house when there was a Hurricane Irma. It was like August, September 2017. So I drove all the way to Illinois from Florida, and while I was there, I was bored. I'm like, let me try this site, you know, I'm feeling lonely, like, there's no one around me, you know, I've been struggling to make friends ever since I moved here, and now that I'm buying a house, like, I really feel like I need a dog, you know. You don't have a house without a dog, you know, at least, you know, for like comfort, sometimes security, you know, your dog will let you know, like, if someone's coming, you know, before you even know. And yeah, I just want to make an animal happy. I want them to run around in the yard and play fetch, and, you know, I always loved dogs, so my reasoning at the time was like, this is perfect timing, I'm ready, I'm financially good, you know. My paychecks were solid, and so I said, okay, now I can afford, you know, freely, comfortably, to have this dog, and I don't care how much it costs me, I want a dog, okay? And I always envisioned a Chihuahua and exactly how it looked like. And when I opened that webpage, the first dog that showed up on the first page, I was like, this is the one, this is it. And I was so confident of it. I called her, and this lady was so kind on the phone, and I just knew. As soon as I heard her voice, I was like, I know, this is the dog. She's gonna accept me. And she's like, well, there's like 3-4 people ahead of you also wanting this dog, so I'm gonna have to interview all of you to see which is the right fit. Of course, I was the right fit. She called me, and then invited me to her home, which was 2.5 hours away. No, 2 hours, yeah, it was quite a way. And yeah, she wanted to meet up again, to see again, to double check, confirm that I was the right fit. So she said I was, and this would be okay. And she asked if I wanted to buy the sister, and I was like, I felt bad, but I just didn't feel that connection with the sister. And I said, is that gonna be fine? She's like, well, my daughter, I think her daughter at the time, she said her daughter would buy her off her if I wouldn't. So I just knew she would, and it would be better to be amongst family, and I felt like it would be better if the mom was near this girl dog. I couldn't put it into context, but I just kind of knew. I had a feeling. So she's also this like super spiritual person, like she believed in natural remedies, and so again, that was just kind of like, you know, you don't meet people by accident, you know. I think you're always connected. You're gonna meet someone who you're definitely vibing with at one point or another in your life. So I kind of knew that Paco would be the right one. When I looked at her and I looked at Paco as like a little baby, I just knew Paco was the one. I just knew right away. So again, it just looked exactly as I always visualized since like a kid. Like since 12 years old, I envisioned, I want this Chihuahua this exact size. I don't want them to be, you know, just exact vision, like to the T. And so, yeah, that's him, literally. So it's kind of crazy, you know. So that's the story of how I got Taco. You'll just know, okay? And I read somewhere that actually, like, your pet is part of your soul. Like, basically, before you come incarnate down here, you see a part of your soul. It's like a fragment of your soul, and you want that to be your companion. So you agree that that part of your soul is going to be your pet when you incarnate here. So I do believe Poopsie and Paco were definitely, like, they feel like family. They never once didn't feel like family. And there's just that special connection like you have with any other of your pets. So, yeah. He's very sassy to other people, so he will bark. He will want to bite if you come too close, so he has to warm up to you. But I find that if I just plop him in someone's lap or their hands, he calms down right away. Like, he's super chill. But then when I get him back, he starts to want to nibble at them too. So when I take him in the store in the stroller, he's always like wanting to chomp everyone in the face. It's super hilarious. He'll want to bite people in the ankle like typical Chihuahua, but a lot of Chihuahuas are calm, and like strangers, he does not. But sometimes there's the occasional, I guess they feel energy, so there's the occasional lady that'll come up to him and he'll actually just like smell her hand or something. It won't be like too crazy, so. But yeah, he freaks out a lot around men, especially. He doesn't like men. So there's that. But he's very smart. It did take him like a year to potty train, definitely. And even after the year, on and off, he'd sometimes still mess up. So Chihuahuas do take the longest time to potty train. It's like they just don't get it. I trained him on like a little fake square grass when I was in the apartment at first. He was always going on that, or newspaper, like a dog diaper paper, until I get accustomed to, a new environment with grass. And yeah, so he goes on walks every day, obviously. He eats twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, and sometimes in between the day as like a snack or something. He loves peanut butter milk bones. What can I say? They shed a lot, so you have to brush them every day. Bath once every 2 weeks, once at the groomers, once a month, and once at the house here, once a month. So, again, I could go on and on about that, but he's just a good boy overall, right? He does not like the garbage truck or the post office people. Like, yeah, he will freak out if someone comes to the house, basically. And that, again, alerts me if someone's coming. So, honestly, he's a better security system than the security system. Like, you don't need one when you have a dog, But anyway, would it be nice to have a big dog one day? Yeah, but when I realize also that they're like little children, honestly, more so than little dogs, and the expense and the time and like the transport is difficult. Oh my god. And then they run off randomly. Do you know how many times random neighbors, this like 3 or 4 times, 4 times, 5 times, have come to my door and been like, have you seen my dog? Like, one time, literally a husky like jumped out of someone's car, and while I was walking Paco, she was asking me if I saw a husky. Another time, a Rottweiler. Another time, a German Shepherd. Another time, a Golden Labrador. Another time, a pit bull. I'm like, yeah. So this is why I kind of refused anything larger than 10 pounds. They will run away. Okay. And even this one, it will if you're not careful, but thankfully there's like trees all around me and literally no cars on my street, so where's he gonna go? He never runs in the bushes, and he's microchipped, so I have a ID card that I call the company. I have his code. They can find and track him immediately. He won't get far, but like, there have been wild boars here. Not anymore, thankfully. I think they got them all. They used to shoot them down with helicopters, believe it or not, because they're super invasive to this wildlife. There are snakes, there are bobcats. I would be more worried about the bobcats, because there's like a family of 3 that lives here, and I see them once in a while. So this is why I don't let him out free roam. I think that's super irresponsible anyway. So I always leash him when I go outside, okay? Unless he's like right in front of me and he's in the backyard, like it's no big deal. Like, no one's gonna jump out and get him, like I'm right there, literally. Like, even those big hawk birds, they always circle and they never bother him, when I'm there, it's just I'm there, I never leave him alone outside, obviously. So he's always with me. I always keep an eye on him. I'm super protective, and that's that. So he's on the patio a lot. It's a closed-in screen, so people think like my patio is out open to the outdoors. No, there's like a thin screen. It's called a it's a no-see-em screen. So there's like these little bugs in Florida called no-see-ems. You can't see them, but they bite you because they're so small. So that screen is so, you can't see it because it's literally woven so small that those little bugs can't get in ever. And that was through my stepdad's company. He does the screening, the gutters. He's doing pretty good, actually. Wow, he actually grew his business quite a lot over the years. But yeah, so maybe some of you watching have called up his company. You never know. I'm sure you have, one of you, to do your gutter screening. But anyway, like I was saying, so they put that because at one point these no-see-ems, they kept coming in. They kept coming. It was so annoying. Like, ow, like you're sitting outside. You know, that's why you can't really even open a window unless you have no-see-em screens. It sucks. But that's more at night or early in the morning, though. More at night they come, and they're so annoying. So yeah, he sits in the patio. Even Boopsie sometimes, you know, she chills on the chair. And yeah, people were freaking out in one vlog I did, and we're like, oh my god, she's gonna fly away or some bird's gonna snatch. No, there's a screen. Like, it's impossible. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it survived that Category 5 hurricane. It's good. Okay, it's good. Alrighty. So that's Paco. That's Boopsie. They're both in good health, thank God. You know, I have to update with the county by law his his ID. They send you this like little thing that you put on his collar, his ID number, and to make sure that he's up to date with shots, all that stuff. I have to once a year and then pay a fee. He has health insurance even. Like, literally, he's good. Like, I take good care of him. Like, he's my child. He's my baby. Like, you know, he costs me probably $200 a month, something like that, with everything, if I add up everything. Poopsie too, like maybe 50, so both of them $200-300 a month, which is why I'm not getting any pets more, because like there's already so many of those kind of $200-300 a month expenses in life that it's just ridiculous. Like, my monthly bills are at least $5,000, like at least, with everything. So like I obviously need to save for retirement, need to, you know, emergency expenses. Like, I can only do so much, you know. So literally that's that. And so yeah, he doesn't really play with his toys that much. But anyway, let's move on to my past pets. So one of my first pets was I think 2 birds. And I don't have memory of this, but apparently I was the one when I was like a little 3, 4, 5-year-old toddler. Literally, I don't know what the F I was thinking, but I was just a toddler. Opened the cage and encouraged them to fly out, and they both flew out and never to be seen again. I was that child. Like, I put lipstick on the walls, I put cookies in the cassette tapes, the VHS. I kept pressing on and off on the TV until it broke and sizzled. Like, from what my family tells me, I have no memory of this. None. Zilch. Not a zero whatsoever. But I screamed when my mom told me that story about the birds. I screamed. I was like, why do I always cause so much damage? Anyway, so they didn't get bird for some time after that. I guess we got another time a bird that was a cockatiel. Super smart. She could actually chirp back to us, talk to us, literally talk. And when I was 5, I accidentally fed her crayons. How stupid. I was like, I asked my brother, I'm like, oh, it's non-toxic, right? He was like 8. He was just minding his business, playing a video game. He had no idea what I was talking about. He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I literally I had this like Crayola play set table with a bunch of Crayola crayons sitting on it. And I put her on the table, and I didn't think much of it. I didn't actually feed her that, And I leave the room. I come back, and she's nibbling on the crayons. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. So I grab her, put her on the shoulder, take her back to the cage. The next morning, she's literally on the bottom of the cage, poor thing. And like, I'm sobbing, and my parents are like, what happened? What could it be the problem? Like, as soon as my dad picked her up, she passed away in his hands. Like, it's like she was waiting all night to say like, hey, I've been suffering all night, and then she passed. She was so smart, but she loved us. I'm gonna cry. It was like, she literally loved us. Like, she was the best bird. Like, she was so smart, so smart. I think that was an angel, actually, because she lived so short, but like, it was meant to be, like, I was just a kid. What did I know? Like, I think kids are closely connected to the spirits, so it's like, I kind of knew, like, I gave her permission to do that to herself in a weird way. Does that make sense? Obviously, I would not have intention to harm her. She was like the best bird. I still have memories of it, like taking pictures with her, and best bird ever. Like, literally so funny, so smart. I can't explain to you. This bird was special. That's why I think she's an angel. And I think it was just kind of like a moment in my life, like, yeah, you're gonna have me someday, but you'll have to wait. It's not the right timing, because we moved a lot at the time. I moved all my life, which is why I could never make stable friends, and like, I moved like 8, 9, 10 times. So like, we moved every couple of years, so it was very hard I was never really like grounded in one stable place. The longest time was 7 years, but that was an exception. I don't know, that was a miracle we were even there that long. But anyway, so it was very sad, very sad. Like, yeah, very horrible day. It was a horrible day. And then my mom was asking what happened, and I think I finally had like a memory. I was like, oh, maybe because she was like eating the crayons, and they freaked out, but they were like, you're just a kid, you didn't know better. But obviously they were upset, because like, as an adult now looking back, I'd be pissed. Like, this is the best bird, and you just left her there on the table to eat. But I was only 5, like, so they couldn't even yell at me, because obviously I didn't know any better. So like, I thought, oh, it's a non-toxic, this is okay, so I can leave her on the table. Nothing bad will happen, even if she takes a bite or two. Anyway, so, yeah, that was horrible, but that's what happened. And then years later, we ended up moving, and then getting, another bird. I think it was a cockatiel, or not a finch, not a canary. It was between a finch, canary, and a cockatiel. Budgie, maybe. I think it was a budgie. I don't remember. But I come home from school one day, and I'm like, what? And then my parents were like, my mom and my brother were there, and they were like, do you notice something different? I'm like, no. And then I turn, and like, there's a freaking bird in a cage. I'm like, oh my god, I was so happy. Like, they just wanted to surprise me, and so they got sentimental, because they were thinking about Coco, which the cockatiel that passed away was Coco. Yeah, again, very short-lived. All the pets we had, it was almost like a curse. Like, we only could have them a few weeks. We had to move. Something always came up. We were never home, because we were in school, or they were working all the time, and like, they were making a lot of money at the time, so like, they were so busy, like, who's gonna be home to watch this bird, so a few weeks later, we gave it to some family friend or whatever. Okay, then some time comes, we move again. Yeah, she was a good bird, but like, not the best. She would always bite me, whatever. Okay, so whatever. Okay, it was not meant to be. Not compatible, right? And it wasn't even my bird, because I don't consider it my bird, because they bought it. Like, it was their purchase, their intuition. Like, I never had any say in it. It was just a surprise, so I never really felt connected to that bird anyway. Moving on. But I love birds. I always loved birds, so she would always hang out with me after school while I'm doing homework. Okay, and my mom also was like, she's always super clean, so she doesn't want pets because she always cleans. So she likes it clean, Some people are like that. It's okay, It doesn't bother me if there's like feathers or hair. Like, I clean once a week. I'm that type of person. I don't care. Okay, I don't care. It's always clean anyway, right? So we move, and then I get 2 budgies. Okay, so my parents finally agreed. So they were the budgies you saw at the beginning of my YouTube channel, which is actually almost 11 years ago. I can't believe it. Wow, July 18 is 11 years. Oh my god. I've been waiting on that day for so long, because they say like after 11 years you start to transition and cycle into new things and opportunities, so maybe something new is coming. Who knows? But I'm not holding my breath. I just know that that's a powerful number. So yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens. But like I said, yeah, it's like 11 years ago. So I got these budgies, and then I started my YouTube channel, and they were always the ones, the green birds sitting on my shoulders, and they'd always be fighting and nibbling each other. If you type like Tony Bomboni in YouTube, search Tony Bomboni 10 triggers for sleep, something like that, you'll find it. Okay. It was one of those videos that took off at the time, and then like other ASMR artists were making videos about it too, because it was like one of those trending tags. Like, people don't believe me. They were like, I wish you could blow up on YouTube. I'm like, child. In 2015, I was the 5th most viewed ASMR artist. Like, people, I guess, forgot that. So they think like, my channel is always like, still have yet to grow. Honey, it's been there and done that. Like, I'm not expecting anything at this point. It's just extra to me. It's more than enough. I'm not looking to be a billionaire. Like, I really don't care for the things of this world that way. I believe that, we just come here to do our mission and go. Like, what's the point? You can't take it with you anyway. So anyway, I don't have attachment, I guess. But anyway, so moving on. And I guess in a weird way, life taught me that, like, not to be attached to things, because like I always wanted to be attached to my pets, and then I couldn't because they had to give them away, So I'm just talking about birds. I'm gonna get to dogs. We also had dogs in between this too. So we went through a lot of pets on and off. Which again, I wish it never happened, but anyway. So I got the 2 budgies, and then we had to move again. So we had to move from this nice big home into a small apartment. So obviously it was an inconvenience, and for my family, and the 4 of us living together at the time, on and off, because we were both, me and my brother were back and forth in college dorm. I was mostly living in the college dorms. I came home on the weekends to film YouTube videos. So like, I couldn't have these budgets. I cried. Like, I never cried about any pets but them. I remember the day. It was 2013, October. I was done with school. I was in college, and I come home, and we have to officially leave the house. It was foreclosed. I was like, and 19 years old, sobbing about these 2 green birds. I'm like, I'm gonna miss you guys so much. Like, I still feel it in my gut. I'm like, sorrowfully sobbing. And my mom just watching there, and she's like, don't make me cry. Come on, we have to go. We have to hurry. Because we gave it away to one of the agents that was renting our apartments out. And she agreed to keep them. And we just gave it for free. And I still remember being in the guest bedroom and just seeing them. And like, you guys don't even know what's going on, but I'm sending you so much love. I hope you live a long life. I will miss you so dearly. I'll never forget you. I'll always think about you, like, as if I'm giving a eulogy. Like, so sad. It was also a very dark day for me, but it made me stronger emotionally. And my mom, God bless her, always gave me the courage, but I just hated it. I was like, one day I'm gonna own a bird. I'm never gonna give her away. And only 2 years after that, I ended up buying Poopsie. So yeah, I was like, I'm gonna make the money. Like, I made a promise to myself. I'm like, I'm gonna work so freaking hard. I'm gonna grow this channel. Like, I'm gonna do what it takes. I'm gonna own a freaking bird. I'll even own a freaking dog. I'll own 2. I'll own a house where no one can tell me if I can, freaking own a bird, own a dog. Like, no one can tell me what to do. My own rules, right? So, I worked so hard those 2 years to manifest, and it came. Everything that I wanted came true. And that's why I don't want anything anymore. I'm like, what the F else do you need in life, you know? Like, if you're always spending your whole life manifesting and attracting, like, you're gonna be so miserable and depressed. Like, it made me, after a while, like, after the year 3 or 4, I was, like, so miserable and depressed, because I was like, oh my god, I keep manifesting, but, like, what's the point? Like, I keep manifesting, what's the point, right? Like, what's the point? It's a never-ending cycle, so, you know, you have to get to a place where you're like, eventually, this is it. This is comfortable. I like where I'm at. I don't need any more. I don't need to obsess anymore. So, yeah, after those budgies, then I got Poopsie, so I spoke about Poopsie, and here we are today. She's still with me 8 years later, so never gave her away. So, talked about Paco. Now let's go back in time again and talk about dogs. So, we had a dog that was a Labrador, but I never got to see him because I was in Macedonia for about a couple months, 2.5 months, and they had him basically the whole time I was away, and they gave him away by the time I came back, so I was always expecting to see a dog home when I came back, but they're like, oh yeah, we didn't tell you, we gave it away, we just didn't want to make you sad while you were gone. I'm like, you know, what is with this cycle, you know, of like giving animals away? Like, what is this about? And then, like, looking back years later, I realized my grandfather, who recently passed away, he kind of was not the nicest person most of his life. I did meet him eventually, but he was nothing but kind to me. But I won't go into it, but there's a lot of family trauma behind pets. That's all I'll put it. He was not the nicest to animals either, unfortunately. So I think maybe, perhaps, my mother seeing that growing up maybe influenced her in some way, and then kind of like, you know, could never have the attachment to the animals because they always had animals on and off too. I know that sounds weird, but like, it makes sense now, and that was kind of like, maybe I was there to transmute that and like close that off permanently, where no, we're not gonna keep giving animals away like I almost did with Poopsie at one point, even with Paco. And I was like, no, I'm gonna keep these animals. So I kind of broke the cycle of genetic giving away animals. Does that make sense? So I was like, no, I'm done with this energy. Like, I'm fed up. You know, we keep giving pets away. We're not gonna do that anymore. So, like, I still remember begging and pleading, but I had no control. I had no say. I didn't pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no say over if a pet should stay or go. Like, I had literally no choice. And I was like, I'll just watch him until I move out of here. No one believed I would be able to move out or afford it. You know, no one wanted to clean the feathers. And I was like, I'll clean. I'll do what it takes. No, you're in college. Like, so there was no way. So, like, the stress of that, you know, it gets to you after a time, and you realize, no, I'm going to break it. I'm not going to be like that anymore. I'm not going to just have pets and then give them away, because that's also cruel to the pet. Like, they just grow attached and love you, and now you have to give them away. Like, it was more about that. Like, I felt more bad for the pet than myself, you know. I know I'll be fine, I'll move on, but the poor thing, you know, I'm making sure, guaranteeing they're going to be in a loving home. So yeah, they had this lab, and they said it kept peeing in the house and kept making mess, and I'm like, it's just a puppy, you know, you get what you get. Like, it's a dog, you know, let it live. It was so beautiful. They sent me pictures. Oh, I just thought it was messed up. Like, my brother got to see it. My brother's friend at the time got to see it, but not me. And it's like, what is this? Like, is this karma I'm playing? What is this? Why is this always dangled in my face and taken away, you know? Because I love animals so much. And then after years, we got a poodle. And yes, I was home for this, so we got a poodle, and named Ricky. So Maxie was the dog. The budgies. The two budgies were Coco and Vicky. I'm starting to slowly remember and recall the names. The other budgie, or cockatiel, I forgot, was Coco as well. The first two birds that flew away because I opened the cage because I was like 3. I don't remember their names. I don't know, but anyway, so this poodle was called Ricky, and he's like a furry brown poodle, and you can see him on Instagram. I have like a throwback picture of him holding him in my hands when I was like 15 in the kitchen. And again, that's the dog I never really felt connected to. Never really felt connected to him. He always kind of ran away from us. Like, I try to like run to him and grab him. He would always just dart off. Yeah, he was like a little puppy poodle, but then I realized I don't really like poodles after all. Like, he was cute, but I was like, it's not my dog. I want a Chihuahua. I want, a golden retriever. I want, a Labrador. Like those kind of dogs are appealing to me. And so, again, this was more like a family decision because, my parents thought they looked cute. So I was like, okay, why not? But, yeah, I did spend a lot of time with him. And, again, after a couple months, we just 5-6 weeks. It's always like 5-6 weeks. We gave him away. For some reason, it's like, oh, no one's home. Always the same excuse. We're working all the time, And I understand, again, when you have kids and you have to work to pay this, like, $3,000 mortgage. I understand. It's like, at the time, it was very stressful, I totally get it. Managing upkeep, I totally get it. So, in a sense, I don't blame them, but like, sometimes I still feel like, wow, that didn't have to happen the way it happened. Like, we would have been okay if we still had the dog, like, Anyway, so after that, we had Maxie, then Ricky. I think we had one more. I don't remember. No, we had the Bichon. I'm sorry. We had Maxie, then we had the Bichon, then we had the Poodle. I'm sorry. The Poodle was the last before Paco. So we had the Bichon. I don't even remember the Bichon's name. I think we named it Maxie again. Yeah, honestly, just to kind of like reminisce on old memories, I guess. A former dog that I never saw. Whatever. Okay. I'm not sure how they got Maxie. I think they adopted him. The Bichon was bought from a breeder because they want to make sure it wouldn't be in the house in excess again, and it still did. Sometimes it's like it has a way of coming back to you, boomerang, right? Like, you haven't learned the lesson, you want him to get out of it quick. Here, let's go put you through it again. So yeah, the Bichon beat a lot in the house, and like, you had to use that spray. It was kind of annoying, but again, just a baby. That's what you expect. Little baby dogs. I mean, you get what you get. They're gonna be in your house. Expect it. Don't have carpet then. You know what I'm saying? Don't have rugs around, right? So, this is why I agree, like, you should never get an animal until you're 1,000,000% sure you want this. Okay? Alright. So, cute Bichon, I loved it to bits, felt connected to it, but at times not. At the same time, I was just a kid. I was like 8, 9, 10, whatever. And it was so stressful. I was starting to get really stressed. I couldn't sleep because it kept waking us up early, crying to go outside, and it just wanted outside all the time. And it was, yeah, I remember like how tired I was. And then when we gave it away to trustworthy family friends, or friends, rather. Yeah, like my family's friends. That's what I meant. Not family. They're not blood related. But they had a home with like 3 kids, so like safe. They were super inviting people, and obviously they would. That was the best decision. There was always some people my family met through like work or something, coworkers, whatever. Okay, so we knew they'd go in a good home. We trusted them, so yeah. But I remember how tired I was, and then when we gave them away, like, I felt so rested, so relaxed. I just felt at peace. I felt like that was the only time I felt like this was the right decision, although I still did feel sad when we gave them away. It went away after a couple hours. Like, it wasn't a big deal. You move on with your life. And same with Ricky, I felt sad. Part of me was like, this wasn't the right decision, but whatever. I have no say anyway. I was too young. I don't pay rent. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, again, Ricky was given away to the same type of family. Met through work. A family met through work. They had kids. Yeah, super trustworthy. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And we even checked back in on them, like, make make sure they're okay. They said they're very happy. It's almost like it was the perfect match for them. So I'm like, you know what, it was meant to be, so I can let this go. But still hoping, manifesting in the future for my dream dog, which, you know why I always wanted a Chihuahua. I was 12 years old one day playing on a trampoline with my friend, and she happened to be my little next door neighbor too. So we'd always hang out and stuff and play outside with our other friends who also live next door. What are the odds, right? All the kids were friends. So now that's how we did things back then. We would not text you. Most people didn't have a phone then. We would come to your house, knock on your door, see if you're home. That's how we did things. And then if you didn't answer your door, we took it personal. That's kind of like your way, like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you right now, I'm not going to answer the door, yeah. Or the mom would always answer and be like, they're not really feeling well right now. That was a sign of like, yeah, go away. We don't want to talk to you, like, for some reason. Anyway, millennials will know. So, it wasn't her Chihuahua, but her family came over and they had a Chihuahua, and she let me hold it. And ever since I held that baby Chihuahua, it was like a toy baby Chihuahua, I'm like, this is it. I want a Chihuahua, like, since 12. So 10 years later, 11 years later, the number 11, I manifest a freaking Chihuahua. So, yeah. I was always discouraged, not encouraged, because they were loud. They bark a lot. They're going to interrupt my videos. No fear. I fear nothing. People always tell me, oh, yeah, people were telling me when I got a cocktail, oh, they're going to disturb your peace, your videos. Nope. Paco, same thing. They're going to, oh my God, what a poor decision. Nope. So, I made the right decision. All right. I knew. You always know. And that's, I think, when you get a pet and you want a pet, you will know, and the right time will come through. Alright, so that is the story of all our pets. So we went through all them birds and dogs to come here today with Paco and Poopsie, and I couldn't be happier, prouder. My family loves him. Like, my mom even said she never thought she would love a dog as much as this Chihuahua, Paco. Like, okay, so one day I was picking her up from the airport so she could visit me in Florida, because she was living in Illinois at the time. And I brought my dog, my new few weeks old puppy, Paco, in the car with me. And when she first saw him, she came in the car. He immediately was crying and scratching to go see her. And he knew, like, yeah, this is the right family for me. Like, he loved my mom ever since. Like, he thinks about her all the time. He cannot wait to go to her house all the time. They are so connected. It's as if it's her dog. Okay, so that's kind of the irony at the end of the day. Like, after all that we went through, it's like, that's also how I knew, like, this was the perfect match. Like, Paco knew right away. Like, normally he would be afraid or bark if someone, he saw my mom, right away wanted to go to her. And she fell in love with him, like, right away. So, it was same with Poopsie. He was always on, like, my dad's lap, like a shoulder, watching TV with them. Like, same thing. My mom, my brother loved them. They loved her to bits. Like, instant connection. So that's how you know it's like family. Like, soul contract, soul agree. These are the pets for you. So I think I explained sufficient enough my story, because, yeah, someone requested, thank you to that person who requested, sharing story of past and present, story time of my pets. So thank you very much for listening. Even though it was sad, sometimes had some sad stories, it ended up on a positive note. So I always wonder, what's my next pet gonna be? I always name them with P, like Paco, Poopsie, and their breed is always with a C, Cockatiel, Chihuahua. So I honestly did want a chameleon, which is also C, and to name her Priscilla. But when I realized, like, the work that goes into it, and I don't think with Poopsie and Paco I would be able to watch her that well. I realized that's not a good decision, and my family hates lizards, those kind of things. So yeah, so chameleons always fascinated me, and I don't know why, but, like, that would have been one decision. But yeah, so that's not a thing. And obviously that would be a problem with Poopsie. Like, I couldn't do that. They would have to be far away from each other. So yeah, the only downside is that Paco and Poopsie don't really get along. That's the only downside, because she's so fearful, but Paco is kind of fearful of her. So yeah, that's the only downside. That's only like non-connection, right? But anyway, so yeah, no more pets for me. Like, I decided, maybe in the future, when maybe if I have no pets, and they, move on into the light, someday far in the future, and if I get lonely or bored enough, and more closer to retirement, more abundant, I guess, more comfortable, maybe that might be a thing. Maybe. But they are work. They're like having a child. So I said to myself, never again, but I do still have desires, of having this big dog. So, named Benji. So I kind of, doesn't have to be a C name or like a P name, right? Like, I wanted a dog named Benji. So, maybe someday. Definitely not now. You never know. Maybe Paco can have some other dog to play with. They can lay in the same bed together. Who knows where it can take. Sometimes I'm tempted to get another bird, but then I'm like, okay, you're stuck with it 15 years at least, so yeah, I don't want to be like doing that, because it's hard when you have to go somewhere and then you have to pay someone, and then it's so many expenses. Like, it's so costly to pay someone to watch your dog and bird. Like, wow, okay. Someone always has to be home, and so I'm grateful I live with my brother, because, like, there's always someone home, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, or something. Like, a lot of times my mom comes over too, so there's like always someone home, so yeah, if not human, then animal. But yeah, most of the time there's always someone home, basically. Like, I don't think there's ever a time when someone's not home, really. But I like it here. I feel safe, and I think it's a good environment to raise animals. There's plenty of space. But yes, you have to think of cleanup of fur and feathers and time. It's just, if you have more time, then it's a possibility. So this is why I would prefer it more closer to retirement, when I will hopefully be able to ease off working. Although I don't even know what to do with my time if that were the case. But it's hard to see yourself far in the future, like, than you see yourself now. So I guess I'd be a different person in a sense by then, somewhat. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed filming for you. I have to get going. I'll see you next time. Bye. And make sure you check out Tony Bomboni.